Good morning. We're on the record. The time is 10:09 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Today is February 12, 2026. My name is Jonathan Hernandez. I'm a video technician with Veritex Legal Solutions located in Los Angeles, California. We are recording these proceedings at 350 South Grand Avenue, Los Angeles, California. This is a video deposition of Andrew Callaghan in the action entitled William Joyner versus Andrew Callaghan et al. This deposition is being taken on behalf of the plaintiff. The case number is 824 CV 01160 CBMKS. Now, would you all please identify yourselves and who you represent, starting with the noticing attorney?
I'm Dennis Canty, Murphy and Murphy, for Plaintiff Bill Joyner.
Megan Murphy, also for Plaintiff Bill Joyner.
Abigail Everdale, Davis Wright Tremaine, for Andrew Callaghan, Channel 5, and the remainder of the defendants in the, sorry, not the remainder, Nicholas Mosier and Evan Gilbert Katz.
Thank you. Now, will the court reporter please introduce yourself and administer the oath to the witness, and then counsel may begin.
My name is Sheba Cohen. Please raise your right hand.
Me? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good.
You state to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
You can put your hand down.
No, sorry.
This is going to get stilted on Zoom. I apologize. My name is Dennis Canty. Hi, Mr. Callahan.
Hey.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Could you just, we're going to go through some housekeeping things to start with, so bear with.
Yeah.
Could you please just state your name and spell it for the record?
Sure. My name is Andrew Callaghan, ANDREW space CALLAGHAN.
Thanks. Could you do the same with your address, please?
Yeah, sure. My address is...
Thanks very much. Just to go over although it was a little bit awkward with the hand going up and down, you do understand that you're under oath today, right?
Yes, sir.
What does that mean to you?
That I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Just like you were in a court of law, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. I am going to ask bad questions today.
Okay.
You are an expert in shooting and producing video. You know more about it than I do.
Okay.
I am here to learn about it from you. I apologize in advance. I am going to ask bad questions.
It is okay.
One thing that I would ask is that if you don't understand questions because they're bad or for some other reason, just tell me you don't understand and ask for clarification. Can you do that?
Yes, sir. I'll help you figure out whatever you need.
Thank you. So in that process, in answering the questions, I don't want you to guess. I think I'm going to need your best estimate. If you're not sure of an answer, do you understand the difference between an estimate and a guess?
An estimate in terms of what?
Okay, let's say, for example, we're talking about a time frame, right? You could estimate a time frame. Let's say you could estimate what time you got up this morning because you would have some basis to try to make a general estimate of that. If you were asked to try to estimate when I got up this morning, you would have no basis to do that, right?
Yes.
That would be a guess.
Okay, I understand. As far as timelines and stuff go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Sometimes, and this is a stilted process, like I've said. During this process, we're going to go on today. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. You may later remember information that could make an answer to a previous question more accurate or different. If you note, okay, a couple hours from now, hey, wait a minute, I said something before that I should correct. Could you make the answer better?
Yeah, I could ask my attorney to provide additional information if I miss something when it comes to timelines or specifics.
I'm talking about today. If as you're sitting here today, if you remember something later on today that makes your question, makes your answer to an earlier question better, can you help correct the answer?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Again, we have a court reporter taking down everything we say. So this won't be a normal, regular conversation between humans, unfortunately. But we need to give verbal answers, yeses or nos, rather than nods or shakes of the head. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. I am going to try not to interrupt you. I'm going to try my best. Even though you may think you know where my question is headed, try to wait for me to finish the question. Because for a number of reasons. One, it might not be what you thought, but also it gives your attorney time to object if she wishes to, right? So all of us need to do a good job of avoiding talking over one another, okay?
Sounds great.
All right. Yes, your attorney may object. It may be a good objection to a bad question, and I might need to rephrase. I bet that will happen. But there's no judge here to rule on objections. And typically the way this is going to go is, unless your attorney instructs you not to answer, or I decide I'm going to rephrase,
Okay.
I'm going to need you to answer the question. Okay?
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. You can take a break at any time you want. With one exception, I would ask that we don't do that with a question pending.
Okay.
Answer the question, then we can take the break. And I will be trying to take breaks regularly because, again, you're the expert, and I got to put all this stuff in my head.
Gotcha.
When we're done, there's going to be a transcript, and you're going to have the right to read it, sign it, make any changes you believe are appropriate. But keep in mind, as you answer things today, if you make substantive changes later on, I have the right to comment on that, suggest that maybe you shouldn't be believed because you have a tendency to change your story, that kind of thing. Okay, clear?
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right. Did you take any medication or any other substances that would impair your testimony today?
No, sir.
Any other reason we can't get your best testimony today?
No, sir.
All right. Have you been deposed before?
No.
Oh, all right. Well, and here we go. This will be my first technical challenge. I'm going to start trying to share exhibits, okay?
Okay.
Let's see here. And Megan, I think you may have an exhibit for us.
Yep.
Exhibit 1.
Oh.
Can you take a look at Exhibit 1 and identify for us?
Yes, it's the notice of deposition for me, defendant, Channel 5 LLC.
Okay. And you have an understanding that you are the witness that has been designated by Channel 5 LLC to testify about the topics of examination listed in Exhibit 1?
Yes.
Are you prepared to testify on those topics?
Yes.
Are there any topics listed for which you are not prepared or qualified to testify?
No.
Okay. Are you employed by Channel 5 LLC?
Yes.
Okay. Can I use the abbreviation C5 to refer to the LLC?
Definitely.
Okay. Does C5 have any other employees?
Yep. We have 6 full-time employees, and then we have a few other people who do different producer work for various shoots that we do.
So how many employees work in the business of production of video as opposed to the administrative or secretarial work, that kind of thing?
That's a really good question. I think that we all kind of fill in for different roles. I think that most people who edit also shoot from time to time. So I would say all of us do a little bit of editing, a little bit of shooting, stuff like that. We kind of trade jobs.
Okay. Who are the 6 employees?
The 6 employees currently are Drew Thompson, JP Scatini, Sidney Ray, Juan Jimenez, and Nate Wigman. And myself.
And what is your title?
CEO.
Okay. Who has an ownership interest in C5?
I own 100% of the company.
At the time, let's orient us to time. See how I can best do this. It seems from the info that we've been provided and that we both share that there were individuals working in the production of a film, perhaps originally conceived as Finding Bill Joyner. perhaps it was eventually entitled Dear Kelly at the release. If I use the abbreviation FBJ, can we have a mutual understanding that we're talking about that project?
Yes.
Object.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to object to the preamble. You can go ahead and answer the question that was at the end.
I would prefer that we refer to it as Dear Kelly because that's what everyone knows it as, and that's how we marketed it when we finished the product and toured it and released it.
Okay, I will try to do that.
Thank you.
All right. So let's orient as to time. What was the first step in the Dear Kelly project?
Objection. Go ahead.
The first time that we met Kelly was in April of 2021, and I filmed, I would say, the first third of the project as far as raw footage goes from 2021 to 2022 with the help of my former business partners, Nicholas Mosier and Evan Gilbert-Katz, as well as one or two supplemental videographers. And then we filmed the later footage in 2023 and a bit in 2024. And that was with myself and a guy named Jared Nickerson, known at Channel 5 as Larry Susan. But yeah, those are all the people that worked on Dear Kelly.
Okay. So the beginning of Dear Kelly, I just want to get some time frames.
Yeah.
So the beginning of Dear Kelly from it was in April of 2021?
That is when I first encountered Kelly Johnson, a.k.a. Kelly J. Patriot, holding the 4 flags at the a rally in Huntington Beach.
Okay. And the final film was released in 2024, right?
The film
Objection.
itself was released in the January of 2025.
Got it. Okay. So you've named you've named a number of employees. There are a number of current employees that you just named for me. Thank you very much. But
Yeah.
going back to the beginning in April of 2021, were there any other employees working on Dear Kelly that we've not yet identified or talked about?
The only one that I can think of would be Nate Kahn, who was he wasn't an employee, but he was just a friend of ours. And he would help us shoot various things from time to time. So that's the only person I can think of who would have held a third camera for the production of Dear Kelly during that time frame.
And I just want to, and going through my notes here, there's a final complete production version of the film in January of 2025?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk, General, just a little bit of a roadmap. I'm going to start talking a little bit about Channel 5's standard workflow for production.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk specifically about Dear Kelly, okay? Can you describe generally Channel 5's standard workflow for producing a documentary from initial capture of footage to final product?
Objection. Dennis, could you specify a time period, please?
Sure, from 2021 forward.
You can answer.
Yeah, things have definitely changed in terms of organizational structure from then to now. For example, in 2021 and 2022, we didn't have an office or any kind of formalized structure, but the process of backing up footage was always the same. And dumping footage, we would take raw files straight from cameras or audio receivers, put them onto hard drives, store them, and then later in time, when we got an office, we developed a server and hard drive system, and that is the process for storing footage and producing documentaries. We edit everything in-house, and we store everything in-house.
When did the server come on the scene?
Well,
Objection.
so we have two, I guess a better word is actually solid-state hard drive. So at the offices, we have servers that we use for all the other projects that we're working on. For Dear Kelly, everything was stored on one specific server.
At the time of, at any time during the production of Dear Kelly, was there a written workflow, a production manual, or standing operating procedure that C5 had?
No.
Or no? All right. During the period that we'll talk about, the Dear Kelly period, during from 2021 to 2025,
Yeah.
when footage was captured, recorded in the field, what happened to it after that? What was the standard operating procedure?
Very straightforward. So if we do a shoot, like if we had a shoot today and we filmed something on a Sony camera, we would take them, we take the memory card out of the camera right after the shoot. We would plug it into a laptop or a desktop computer system, typically a Mac, and then we would transfer it directly to our storage system, which is something that we hold in the office. So we keep all the raw files for our safekeeping forever.
Okay. That didn't exist in 21 and 22, right?
No, we didn't have an office, and we stored everything on hard drives, but all of these hard drives were transferred to our larger system when we moved into an office.
All right. In 21 and 22, how many hard drives were we talking about for Dear Kelly?
For Dear Kelly, it only would have been a few hard drives. It's also important to think a majority of the filming for Dear Kelly took place not in 21 and 22, but in the years following that. Because, you know, like the intervention scene and a lot of the stuff with Kelly going to rehab, that took up a lot more space and time.
Was there an individual, particular individual, responsible for managing the transfer?
Yeah, me.
Sorry, did you say me?
Yes, me, Andrew Callaghan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I apologize. Give me a minute. I'm having a freeze of my screen. I can't explain it. The document that I'm reading off of it.
Dennis, do you want to go off the record and take a minute, figure it out?
Yeah, let's do it. Thank you. I
Okay.
apologize.
No problem.
Okay.
We're going off the record. The time is 10:28 a.m.
Oh, are we back?
We're back on the record. The time is 10:34 a.m.
Okay, great. Yeah, and apologies.
No worries.
Looks like we're back. So, thinking about what I've just heard, it seems like there was a time in Dear Kelly, 2020, 2021, 2022, when you did not have a server, you didn't have an office, and things, and the process for ingestion and the storage places for media may have been different as opposed to later. Am I correct so far?
Yes, we basically, and this refers to all footage shot for Channel 5, was kept on hard drives that were at our home office near the computer. In 2023, specifically in the spring of 2023, when we set up our first real office, we took all footage that we'd ever shot for Channel 5 and moved them from smaller hard drives to a bigger hard drive, and nothing was missed, nothing was forgotten in the transfer of said files.
Okay. That's a good enough place to focus on right now. So, whether it was Dear Kelly or various other projects prior to the spring of 2023, they were kept on individual hard drives, right? Footage was kept on individual hard drive?
Solid state individual hard drives with a 1 to 3 terabyte capacity, normally SanDisk, and they were labeled based upon, which footage was on the hard drives, which made it easy when we did the big transfer to figure out what folders to put things in and how to organize the footage.
Okay. In the transfer, in this,
1 second, Counselor. I think we lost our court reporter. Off record?
Yes.
off record.
We're going off the record. The time is 10:36 a.m. We're back on the record. The time is 10:50 a.m.
Okay, we're back. We're trying again. Let's reorient. We are, it's the spring of 2023.
Yeah.
You have your first real office, and all of you had previously you had solid state drives of 1 to 3 terabyte capacity, SanDisk drives labeled according to their contents, right?
Yes.
And those drives were, for lack of a better word, migrated onto some other storage once you had your first real office, right?
Yes.
Okay, what was it migrated to?
It was migrated to one big server with 100 terabyte capacity. The specific brand was the OWC Thunder Bay 8 server, and that's where I migrated all video files to.
Okay. What happened to the original storage media?
Oh, I mean, they're just hard drives, solid state hard drives. I still have them in my capacity, but like I mentioned, everything from every hard drive that we previously had before in office were transferred to a larger server system.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't want to belabor the point, but I'm not sure I understood the answer. Where are the original solid state drives?
Oh, I still have all of the original solid state drives in my possession.
You mentioned that in the workflow for Dear Kelly that the media storage cards would be you download the media from those cards into the solid state drives, and you do that with using a Mac, right?
Objection.
Yes.
Okay. And do you still have the Mac that you used as an intermediary?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk about the media ingestion, the process of getting the media from the memory card to a storage device. In the time frame prior to spring of 2023, can you describe the steps that were taken?
In terms of getting raw video and audio files transferred to hard drives?
Correct.
So cameras typically have an SD card, or audio devices have a micro SD card. I would put those SD cards directly into a Mac computer, and then using Finder, I would just drag and drop or copy and paste all of those raw video and audio files onto a hard drive. You don't need a third-party application or anything like that. It's an internal mechanism in the Mac software.
And the software is it's Finder. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't use anything like a Shot Put Pro or a Hedge or a Silver Stack or anything like that?
Never heard of those things.
Okay. Was there any process in ingestion of the media from the memory card to the hard drive where there was a checksum verification performed to verify that the complete file was transferred?
Could you repeat that last part?
Sure. This finder process that you described, and I'll apologize because I'm not as familiar with the Mac. Is there any checksum verification performed to verify that the complete file was transferred?
I'm not familiar with what the checksum verification process is, so no, but it was just a direct drag and drop transfer from the memory cards to hard drives.
We've talked about that process as it existed prior to spring of 2023. Following the spring of 2023, did your process change at all?
Yes, it went from transferring to solid state drives to transferring directly to the larger hard drive, and all files related to Dear Kelly were stored in one place, the same place they are now.
Was the process for ingestion any different? I.e., did you use the card to go to a Mac using Finder?
The exact same process.
So after ingestion, let's talk about the time frame prior to spring 2023. After ingestion, the files were stored on a solid state drive. How many drives were used for Dear Kelly?
In terms of in those first couple years, I would say maximum maybe 3 to 5. There were very few drives because we didn't cumulatively shoot that much footage in 2021 and 2022. We didn't have it wasn't necessary to have a whole bunch of drives. It was very straightforward.
Do you still have those drives?
Yes, we keep all hard drives.
Where are they located?
Everything is at our office in Los Angeles.
Okay, let's talk about the workflow from ingestion through final delivery. Prior to, let me first ask the question. Prior to the, shall we say, migration event in spring of 2023, and then afterward, did your process for editing programs change at all as a result of that migration?
Objection.
No, we've always had the same editing process.
Okay. Can you describe that editing process generally?
Yeah. So we use Adobe Premiere Pro, standard Creative Cloud software, and we work directly with raw files in Premiere projects.
The editing that is performed, is it typically performed on native media or proxy media?
It's performed on native media, specifically if we don't work with really high value cameras, like let's say a RED or expensive cinema cameras that would require proxies, because proxies are generally used whenever the media is so big that it will slow the computer down. But we've always had pretty solid computers, and we were working with relatively small size MP4 and MOV files, so we never made proxies, we just worked from raw footage.
Is that true of the Dear Kelly project?
Yes.
Was there any time where proxies were made in the Dear Kelly project?
I don't believe so. Not that I can recall. I also don't know how to make them, to be honest with you.
When you work with Adobe Premiere Pro,
Yeah.
It creates project files for each project, right?
Yes.
How many project files were created for Dear Kelly?
It's hard to give you the exact number, but there was one main project that we used for the editing process. So there was one master project that had different sequences and scenes in them, but it was one major Premiere project. There may have been others, but not that that immediately come to mind.
When you work with Adobe Premiere Pro and you create the project files, are the project files located on the computer that's running Adobe?
We actually back up project files on the servers themselves, because when you save a Premiere project to the computer itself, it uses that computer's scratch disk, which has a limited number of what's called RAM, which is the graphics card. So we would save projects to servers, and so that they can use that scratch disk to not run down the processing capacity of the computer. So all Premiere project files were stored on the servers.
Okay. Prior to the spring of 2023, when you didn't have a server, what was the workflow?
It was exactly the same. The only difference is we didn't have a server to consolidate all of our files.
Okay, so in that instance, where were the project files located?
On to hard drives that were transferred to the server in the spring of 2023.
The same hard drives that contain the raw media?
Yes. Our practice has always been with every project to save project files to the same place where the raw video files are stored. Otherwise, things can get confusing, like if a laptop malfunctions or something, then you lose the project file. So we keep it elsewhere.
Okay. And that was true of the 3 to 5 maximum drives that you were using for the Dear Kelly project?
Yes, yeah, definitely.
And these 3 to 5 drives that we're using, did they contain anything else other than Dear Kelly material?
No, they were specific.
And so they would contain all of the files, media files, and project files, and whatever you needed to work on that Dear Kelly project.
Yes.
And nothing else.
Nothing else. Not to my knowledge. I mean, I haven't looked at these hard drives since I made the transfer, but our process for transferring was just take them all, dump them all on the server, make sure nothing is left out.
Okay.
Mr. Callaghan, do you mind slowing down for me a bit, please?
Yeah, sure. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. As far as now let's go to the workflow. Once you've completed the editing, what is the workflow for exporting a completed production?
In Adobe Premiere Pro, you would go to the File tab, you'd go down to Export, and then from there, there's a number of settings that you can choose from for export. For example, MOV, MP4, QuickTime. We prefer to do H.246, maximum bitrate, and we export things from there. Like if we were to make a YouTube video right now, we would export in H.246, and we would upload directly to YouTube from there.
Oh, what was the export process for Dear Kelly? Was it the same?
Yep, it would have been the same as any video that we make, exporting the MP4 in H.246 directly from Adobe Premiere.
Are intermediate renders commonly created as part of the workflow?
No, we usually just go for the straight export.
How many exports were done for the Dear Kelly project?
I'm not sure, but there was one final export that was seen, by our audience.
Can you estimate for me how many final exports there were of the Dear Kelly project?
I could not, just because I don't want to give you an inaccurate figure. But our process for note taking often involves a lot of exports. So with my team, if I have what I think is a final product, this goes for every video, I'll export it and I'll send it to the company and say, hey, can you guys provide notes and feedback on things like music, color, and then they'll give notes. So there may have been slightly different exports before the final cut that went out, but I can't estimate how many. It would be too hard to say. Can't hear you. Hey, Dennis, we can't hear you.
Can you hear us, Dennis? Can you wave at him?
Yeah. I'm just gonna go off record then.
Okay.
We're going off the record. The time is 11:05 a.m. We're back on the record. The time is 11:07 a.m.
Okay. I think we were going to discuss. I know I'm going to draw an objection for the preamble, but I want to orient us to the questioning. It's my understanding from reviewing things that there was a unique release of this particular project in that it was shown in theaters over several dates. Am I correct so far?
I'll just register my objection.
Yeah, so when we went on something called the Dear Kelly Film Tour, what we did is we tried, it was more small cosmetic changes, like changes in music at various dates to see how people would react to, I guess, certain changes. But they were pretty small. It's also, if you see the final cut, the one that came out that we sent to y'all, where you see me doing my studio voiceover. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
I am.
Yeah, like the kind of artistic studio voiceover, that didn't exist in the cut that we showed on tour. It was just voiceover with the same words. It was mostly because we were putting together like all of the visuals and the artistic team for that final voiceover. So that was the last thing that we shot before the final release, was the voiceover in the studio. So on tour, we showed, it was basically the same movie every city. I mean, it was more of a marketing thing, but there was a couple small changes, music, like color, cosmetic, little timing stuff, but it wasn't significantly different.
Okay. So am I correct that for every one of those changes and for every time you wanted to send a version of this to colleagues for review and notes and comments, that another export would be created?
Yes.
Does the project file in Adobe contain a version history or a history of those exports?
I'm sure that it does.
During the time period 2021 to present, did C5 have a standard policy regarding retention of original source media?
Yep. Our policy is just save everything.
Pursuant to that policy, you still have the 3 to 5 drives that were dedicated to Dear Kelly.
Yes, not just that, but we have almost every hard drive that we've ever used in our possession.
And those 3 to 5 drives still contain the original source media.
Yes.
Let me finish.
Sorry.
That was filmed in the course of the Dear Kelly project, right?
Yes.
Does C5 have a policy regarding backups of that media?
Objection.
No, we just keep everything on the servers. That's pretty much the policy, that those are our backups. There's no backup to the backup.
In the time frame 2023 to present, now that you have a server, is that server backed up?
No. I guess we just trust the server.
All right. Now, I'll apologize if I go over a couple other things, but I have some notes here that I want to cover for the Dear Kelly project specifically.
Yes.
I'm not trying to be purposely repetitive. I just may need to confirm some things. So hang in there with me. So for Dear Kelly, we used Adobe Premiere, right?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just going to object, and that's it.
There was one main project file that was created, correct?
Yes.
There may have been a few others that you can't recall.
Objection.
Possibly. None come to mind. There was one that we worked from primarily and did all of the creative stuff in.
That project file references the original paths of all the original source media, correct?
Yes.
And you've retained it. If there's any project file related to Dear Kelly, you've retained it.
Yes.
And it would be, prior to 2023, would be on those 3 to 5 solid state drives.
Yes.
And after 2023 would be on the server.
Yes.
To your knowledge, at any time, was any Dear Kelly source file deleted?
No.
Were any earlier edits deleted?
No.
Objection.
No.
Were any exports deleted?
No.
Okay. So prior to 2023, the process was that the project files would have been created on those 3 to 5 solid state drives, and the movie itself would have been edited on a Mac,
Yes.
and you still have that Mac.
Yes.
Were there any other computers that were used in editing the Dear Kelly project?
I don't believe so. We edited everything from my Mac desktop, which is the one that I use in my office. It's my computer.
Were any personal devices owned by any of the C5 personnel used for editing Dear Kelly footage or versions of the movie?
No.
Were any Dear Kelly files ever transferred via Dropbox, WeTransfer, Google Drive, or anything like that?
Objection.
I don't believe so. I don't recall. No, I don't think so.
Are there any personal accounts belonging to employees or former employees of C5 which might contain Dear Kelly material?
Objection.
I don't believe so.
C5 take any steps to preserve video and audio files in light of this litigation?
It was advised by the council.
I don't want you to talk about any advice you got from counsel. It's just, this is a yes or no question. Sorry.
We keep, like I mentioned, we keep everything. So when I saw that I was being sued, I was like, all right, I'm going to keep everything.
So the steps that you took to preserve video and audio files were that you saved the solid state drives that you used prior to the spring of 2023.
Objection.
Our policy for preserving audio and video files is the same whether or not there's litigation involved. We back everything up on the servers. We don't move anything. We keep it there for safekeeping and archival purposes.
Did you send any notice in writing or discuss with any of your employees, hey, there's a litigation that involves this material, please don't let anything get destroyed?
Dennis, I'm going to object to that and instruct my client not to answer. That's work product material and attorney-client privilege.
Whether he performed those acts is the attorney-client privilege?
You can ask him whether he took steps to preserve documents, but you cannot ask him about the content of communications that were further to this litigation.
Oh. How about let's try to rephrase. Let's do the fact of the communication. Did you communicate at any time with any of your employees that there was a litigation hold of any kind on materials related to Dear Kelly?
Our policy is always the same, just don't delete anything. And that would have gone for whether or not there's litigation or not.
So is that a no?
I'm trying to understand your question. Did I tell people at the office, like, hey, don't delete anything? Is that your question?
Right.
I tell them that every day, no matter what.
Did you take any steps specific to this litigation to tell your employees not to destroy things related to Dear Kelly?
No, they would never do that. And I'm the custodian in possession of the Dear Kelly, the solid state drive, the OWC Thunder Bay 8 that was used for Dear Kelly. And it's in my office, so it wouldn't have been tampered with.
Were you involved in identifying or locating or collecting video and audio files relevant to this litigation?
So we hired a third-party service called Lighthouse to come to the office and do a full digital imprint of the OWC Thunder Bay 8 server, which contains all of the Dear Kelly footage, project files, etc. And we also gave them access to my email, Google Drive, and let them do a scan of my iPhone, because I wanted to do things the right way. So I was pretty hands-off and just let them do their thing and take everything.
When did that occur?
I have the date here. At 10:10 a.m. on March 31st, 2025, Jesse Oropeza from the Lighthouse came for collection. He took the drive. They took it to their facility in the Bay Area, did a full, I don't know exactly what they did, imprint, scan, whatever, and then they eventually brought it back, and it's still there.
Did they take a forensic image?
Yes.
They take any data from the 3 to 5 solid state drives that were used prior to 2023?
They did not. However, as mentioned, all of that data is contained in the larger server. There was nothing that wasn't transferred from those drives to the server.
Other than on March 31, 2025, were there any other collection efforts made by anyone?
Objection.
I don't believe so. It was just whatever Lighthouse was instructed to do, which is take the server, take the phone, Google Drive, emails, all that stuff.
Were there, to your knowledge, any video or audio files identified as relevant to Dear Kelly but not collected by Lighthouse?
No. They collected everything relevant to Dear Kelly.
Let's look, if we can, at Exhibit 2.
Okay.
Megan had that.
Got it.
Can you take a look at Exhibit 2, and when you're ready, identify it for us?
Yeah, it says objections and responses to plaintiff's first set of requests for production to defendant Channel 5 LLC, filed on May 30th, 2024.
Have you seen this document before?
I believe so.
Did you play a role in responding to the requests for production that were sent by plaintiff?
Objection.
I don't know, probably. I don't know. I don't really understand the question. Sorry, I'm not that trained in legal language.
Okay. What I'm asking is, if you've seen this document, perhaps you had a role in preparing responses to the request for production.
Objection.
Yeah.
Did you?
I don't know. I'm sorry. Like you said, when you're asking about technology, did I prepare responses? I'm sorry, I'm trying to answer the question. Did I prepare?
Okay. Were you asked to conduct a search for anything in response to plaintiff's request? Did you assist counsel in identifying responsive material? Did you play a role in providing information in response to the request?
Objection, Dennis. That was 3 questions. You need to choose one.
I was giving, for instances, as to explain what a role might be.
I understand, but some of those called for privileged information, so you got to choose a question. And if it's seeking non-privileged information, then my client can answer it.
Did you assist counsel in identifying responsive materials?
Yes, I guess.
Okay. Did you conduct a search for responsive materials?
You're talking about like the materials that contain the Dear Kelly footage? Like the hard drive?
Okay. You see how the first request says produce the film?
Okay, yeah, like produce a final cut of the film for review.
Right. And after all that, after all these objections, it says subject to and without waiving these objections, defendant will produce a version of the film referenced in paragraph 8 of the complaint. Do you see that?
Yeah, oh yeah, I produced a version of the final version of the film for you guys.
So when this request for production came in, did you assist counsel in identifying materials that would be responsive?
Yes, because I know where everything is.
And so, what sources of data did you use to find the responsive material?
As far as sources of data, as I mentioned, everything is stored on the OWC Thunder Bay 8 server, including the final export of the film, which was ultimately released. So I would have been able to provide any and all of that stuff upon request.
I'm going to move on to a next exhibit. It's a good time for a break if everyone needs one.
Sounds good.
Okay.
We're going off the record. The time is 11:27 a.m. We're back on the record. The time is 11:41 a.m.
So the next exhibit we're going to talk about is Exhibit 3.
Okay.
Do you have Exhibit 3?
He's got it.
Okay, this is exhibit.
This is doesn't lend well to paper, so we're
Okay,
just gonna
got it.
do it this way. And so, just to orient you a little bit, this is a CSV file. It was produced to us by your counsel.
Yep.
It's called a load file. Have you seen it before?
No.
Okay. The purpose of a load file is to provide us information about the electronic files that were produced in response to the request.
Yes.
And I want to talk a little bit about some of it, but what I want to do, and I want to do this in front of counsel so she sees what's happening, but I want to ask questions about some of it, so I'm going to hide some of the columns, the stuff that I don't think is going to aid our discussion.
And to clarify, these are files produced by counsel.
Right, these are files that were produced by counsel, so I want to, and presumably that were once in your possession in one way or another. So we're gonna go over that. I don't think we need to have designations, and so this is really what I want to talk about. One of the things that the load file tells us for each file is its original file path location on the drive from which it came. You see that?
Yep.
Okay. And so what I did is I took a summary, basically, of this load file, and I created an Exhibit 4.
Exhibit 3 or Exhibit... Oh, okay, I see the 4.
This is Exhibit 4. And this is basically the folder information recursed, right?
Yes.
This is to show us, what folders are represented by the data. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, does this file structure look familiar to you?
Objection.
Yes. So I mentioned to you, we haven't talked about technology yet, but yes, this file structure looks familiar.
When you say we haven't talked about technology yet, what are you referring to?
Cameras, because I looked over the questions that were initially sent over about what kind of cameras we used, and I have a lot of information about that just in my head.
Okay, we're going to get there, and I thought this might be a good jumping off place for that. So, the first what I want to establish is, does this file structure seem consistent with how data were stored by C5?
Specifically during 2021 and 2022, which I'm sure is where you can tell in the file path that it was transferred over. This resembles the structure of the early storage, which was, like I said, blanket copy and pasted to the larger drive in the spring of 2023. So yes, this is consistent with how we stored things before migrating all of the files to a larger server.
Okay, let's expand a little bit on that. Was this folder structure created by a computer or by a person?
It actually depends. So sometimes, for example, as you see with A7, So that refers to the Sony a7S III, which is the 4K wide angle camera that we use. When you copy and paste from the camera itself, as you see, it automatically has folders such as private, M4 root, clip, and sometimes automatically will have a proxies folder in it in case you want to use proxies in the first place. So if you see A7, that's the Sony A7. Oftentimes, M4 root and clip contain the same MP4 files, but they're embedded duplicates in the memory card itself. They don't have that kind of thing for iPhone, night vision, or drone footage. That's specific to the Sony camera format.
So let's touch on that a little bit. When you mean it, I mean, I know you said you didn't work with proxies, right?
Oh,
So,
no, I didn't work. Okay, I'll let you finish your question.
Thanks. Yeah. I'm sorry for the nature of the conversation, but my question is, if you're not using proxies, how are these proxy folders created?
Proxy folders are oftentimes automatically created when you're transferring 4K video footage from a standard memory card onto a hard drive. We would only use proxies in the instance that our camera had low resolution capability or low processing speeds because we don't want to run down the graphics card. But when it came to editing Dear Kelly, we didn't work from the proxy folders or create the proxy folders. The proxy folders are just existent because most people out there don't have advanced technological software. That's my understanding of it. And I certainly don't recall using any proxies in any editing processes. You know, a proxy is just basically like a ghost file that references the raw footage itself. So even if you're working from a proxy, that doesn't refer to a different file. That just means it is like a low resolution composite video rendering of that file to make it easier on your computer.
Thanks. I want to focus in on how are the proxies that we see here in Exhibit 4 created? Was it created by the camera? Was it created by the computer? What was it? How was it created?
I don't know the internal.
Sorry, I just wanted to register an objection. Go ahead.
I don't know. I'm not as tech savvy as someone who's a computer programmer, but I do know that some cameras, like the Sony a7S III, has proxy renderings that are automatically created in the SD card. But if you were to expand on any of these proxy folders here, it would just reference the footage below. For example, under proxies where you see it says A7 48 MOV files, the proxies would just be those files in proxy form to make them easier to edit, to not overwhelm Adobe Premiere's ingestion software.
Okay. When we see proxies from the Z90, what does that mean? Does the Z90 do that too?
Yeah, so the Z90 is also a Sony camera, but it is a Sony zoom camera. It's also 4K, but the aperture, unlike the A7 goes from 12 to 16 millimeters, at least with the fixed lens that we had on it. The Z90 doesn't do that. It has like 20x zoom or something. But like I said, this in the path that you're referencing it on is from one of the initial solid state drives that was transferred over to the drive when we did the Dear Kelly footage transfer, meaning this wouldn't even have been what we worked from in the first place. This is just the raw files that we later used directly in Adobe Premiere Pro. And like I said, I don't recall using any proxies during the editing process.
Okay. While we're on it, let's wait. Let's continue with the file structure.
Okay.
The file structure says so. Back up. Strike that. All right. So what you're saying is that say from A7 here and proxies here. I'm not. Well, that doesn't make any sense either. what part of this directory structure was created by a person rather than a computer?
The name Bill Joyner Day 1 would be created by a person. A7, private, M4 root, clip, and proxies would have been created by a computer. Drone would have been named by a person. iPhone would have been named by a person. Night vision would have been named by a person. And voice memos would have been named by a person. But all these things, for example, if you go further down, DCIM 100 media, that would have been created by the computer.
Okay. The file structure has a root folder with a project named Finding Bill Joyner. Is that right?
Yes, that's probably one of the early working projects before we chose the name Dear Kelly, before we made the big transfer, when the project was very much in its infancy and still had that working title.
And so who came up with that name?
I came up with the name as a reference to a film called Finding Francis, a popular film by Nathan Fielder.
Then there's a subdirectory that says O1 footage. Do you see that?
Yes.
So I gather this is a directory where raw footage is stored,
Yes, sir.
and that would have been a name that was arrived at by a person.
I believe so.
And from there, the directories seem to be divided by day. Is that correct?
It looks that way.
Does each day of shooting get its own directory?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the raw file structure. Like I said, during those days, our organizational structure wasn't as clear and organized as it is now, which is part of the reason we transferred everything to a larger drive so we could have better organization. But this definitely 100% resembles how things were stored prior to the migration.
Who came up with the name of the subdirectory Bill Joyner Home Invasion?
I'm not sure.
Who came up with the name of the subdirectory Kelly Johnson Shoot 2, and why is there a question mark after it?
I have no idea. Maybe somebody who was naming it was wondering if it was Shoot 2. That kind of goes with the theme earlier that I was talking about as far as why we migrated things and upped our organizational skills.
Right. So, I'm looking at the shoot day 1,
Yep.
and I'm looking at the proxy file, and I'm looking at A7 and Z90, and they're both underneath this proxies subdirectory. I just want to get I want to get a better understanding of how the proxies were created if you didn't work with them, and why proxies for both A7 and Z90 would appear beneath a subdirectory called proxies. Do you understand the question? Do you understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah, but
Objection.
like, do you understand what a proxy is?
My understanding at this point is that a proxy is a lower resolution file made from a larger raw data file
Yes.
recorded by the camera. In this instance, what I'm seeing in this footage file or directory, for example, you see the A7,
Yes.
and we got a private M4 root and clip, right?
Yes.
And that has 44 MP4 files in it, right? Mm-hmm. The A7 records in MP4 natively, right?
Yes.
Okay, so those are the underlying raw files that you worked with from the A7 to edit the film. True?
We worked with raw files to edit the film from the Dear Kelly drive, not this drive, but all of this footage is featured on the Dear Kelly drive. There's a lot of footage on the Dear Kelly drive that was migrated directly from the solid state drives that were managed by me, Nicholas Mosier, or Evan Gilbert Katz when we were working together. I know that we didn't use proxies to edit the final cut. I can't tell you why there's a proxy folder in this folder. Maybe it was created automatically by the camera itself or was created automatically by the Mac. I don't recall creating a proxy folder. It maybe is possible that one of my former collaborators, for whatever reason, may have created a proxy folder, but I don't know how to even create proxies myself, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Okay. The next question has to do with the fact that I see A7 and Z90 both under the proxy subdirector. You see that?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And now I said Z90, 76 MOV files, right?
Yes, that's what
You
that
see
says. Yeah.
Okay. So does the Z90 record natively in MOV?
Yes, it does.
Does the idea that, we know that the A7 records an MP4, right?
Right.
And an MOV file would be a lower resolution, lower size file that would be inappropriate for a proxy format, right?
What that would be appropriate for a proxy format? Are you able to click on this folder here?
We can go here. Let's find it here.
The raw
Proxies,
files themselves are.
Z90.
Sorry, one at a time, please.
Thank you, Madam Reporter. Sorry about that.
And if we could please slow down again, I would appreciate it.
So if these were ingested into the Finder as proxies, that wouldn't change the content of the video file. So I'm just confused as to why it matters. I haven't seen this before. I'm not familiar with the process of creating proxies. I do know that it would be the exact same video file, perhaps a little bit lower quality, but containing the same contents. That's not something that we would use for a final cut because we don't want to use low resolution footage in a cut. So whatever was used in the final cut that people saw or that was exported at various times would not have been proxy files. So you're pointing to one place that contains them. That wouldn't inherently modify or change the content that is in these files themselves.
Right. What I'm trying to understand is that you see how we have the raw files for the A7, and all we have is the
I think
proxy
it's
files for the
objection.
Z90. You see that?
Yes.
I just want to object at this point, Dennis. We're looking at a visualization that you created, and we do not have a foundation that this is an accurate reflection. So you can ask my client about this visualization, but at some point there's diminishing returns because we don't know where this came from.
Let me do it this way. I believe what I just heard you say is that you wouldn't use the low resolution MOV file in your final production, right?
Yeah, we wouldn't use a low resolution MOV file in a final production or final export.
And we know darn well that from looking at the file names here and the folder structure that I've shown you here, that what we're dealing with here is the Z90 files that are proxies, right?
That's what you're showing me in this particular Excel spreadsheet.
All right. So one thing that we can deduce, if there are proxies here, is that there were original, raw, larger files at one point, correct?
But if you look at column I here, you can see natives C5 confidential. That itself is the larger raw file. That's what was provided to you. You're looking at the file path of automatically ingested proxies. I can see on this in the same spreadsheet that you're showing me the confidential .move not in proxy format in its full resolution.
Okay. let's go back to the original question. The question is that if we see a proxy.mov and it's in a subdirectory called proxies, we know that at one point a Z90 raw file existed from which that proxy was made. Correct or not?
Objection.
Any Z90 file, raw file, not proxy, in its original format, exists in its entirety on the server. Everything that you're referencing and looking for exists on the server that was used to export every cut of the movie, including the final cut. So, yes, of course, you are right to say that at one point a raw Z90 file existed, but not at one point, at this current point, on the same server that we're talking about.
Okay.
And I'd also like to add that if you were to open any of those proxies in Adobe Premiere, it would automatically link you to the raw file itself. If you were to pull those proxies in Adobe Premiere, the ingestion process would reveal the source file for everything you're referencing.
Because there's a record of a link in Adobe Premiere in its project file that links you to the original raw footage. Isn't that right?
Objection.
All of the original raw footage is on the server and was edited directly from the raw file.
And so it being on the server, you would expect that it would be able to be produced to us, right?
Objection.
Anything on the server could be produced to you, and that's why we let Lighthouse have access to all of it and produce relevant materials.
So, let's assume for a moment that this is we don't have to assume. You said that this looks familiar to you. This is the folder structure that looks familiar to you.
Mm-hmm.
Would we expect to find a subfolder with the Z90 raw footage?
Objection.
The Z90 raw footage exists in its entirety on our server system and any and all other systems.
But in the Exhibit 4 folder structure that I've put on the screen, you don't see where the Z90 raw footage would be, right?
That has,
Objection.
if that's what you're seeing, that has to be a technical error on our end relating to the organizational structure of the early solid-state drives, because I used all of the raw footage in every cut that we exported and presented of the film to the world. So.
Is it a good time for lunch?
Sure.
We're going off the record. The time is 12:04 p.m. We're back on the record. The time is 12:05 p.m.
Okay, I want to show you a video that was produced to us and ask you some questions about the equipment and the operators that were involved.
Sure.
I think what we should do at this point, if you're okay with it, counsel, is stipulate that the reporter need not report this initial bit as the witness gets familiar with the video. Is that okay?
Sorry, are you saying she doesn't need to record, she doesn't need to transcribe what happens with the video?
Correct. At this point. What I want to do is play an initial bit of it, and I don't need it reported at all. At some point, we're going to watch it. I'll have some screen grabs from it, and we're going to talk about it, but I don't think we need her to report the audio. I want to give her a break.
Yes, I'm fine with that. I would ask if you want to ask any questions about it, please quote whatever you're referring to or the timestamp so we can have a clear record on that.
All of my snaps have the timestamp.
Great.
Okay. Madam Reporter, you're off duty for the moment.
Are we supposed to be able to hear it?
You're not able to hear it?
No.
Councilor
That may be something we're going to have to deal with. I was not,
You could just ask me about
Thinking
the
that-
people.
yeah.
Dennis, I have my
That's-
laptop here, and if you just save it somewhere I can access it in our file, I can pull it up and play it from my computer.
The problem with this is it's large and moving it back and forth is kind of crazy. I will share it with Megan and we can do that. Right now, I don't need audio for this one. Let's get this one done. We'll take a lunch and we'll figure out the rest from there.
Okay.
Back on the record, if that's okay.
Have you marked this as an exhibit?
I had, because of its size, I had not planned on marking it as an exhibit. I do have shots that will be marked as exhibits.
Okay, would you mind just putting the Bates number on the record so we have a clear record of it?
Sure. It's C5 underscore 00085. First question, Mr. Callaghan. You recognize the individual depicted, yes?
That is me, Andrew Callaghan.
Do you recall the ride that is depicted in this video?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm also just going to
Yeah.
note that you're 35 seconds in.
Okay. So, can you describe what's happening in this video?
Yes, it was got captured on February 4th, 2022, and I am riding with a guy who is the brother of a Channel 5 fan named Claire through the Shady Canyon community in Irvine.
There seem to be at least 5 people in a Range Rover. Can you identify them?
Absolutely. So you have Claire's brother, whose name I could produce to you later, but I don't remember. You have me. You have Evan Gilbert Katz, former partner at Channel 5. You have Nicholas Mosier, former partner at Channel 5. And you have Malaya Goldberg, who was my ex-girlfriend, or she was my girlfriend at the time.
So what are you guys doing?
Objection.
Driving through Shady Canyon.
For what purpose?
We wanted to go to the Lunar New Year celebration as well as see Bill's house from the outside.
This will be Exhibit 5.1. Same video. It's got the timestamp on it. That's you in the front seat, yes?
Yep, that's me.
And that's the A7 camera, right?
That's the A7S III, yeah.
Who owns it?
Me?
This is 5.2. Who are the individuals in that photo?
On the left is Nicholas Mosier, and on the right is Evan Gilbert Katz, former partners at Channel 5.
Who is the person seated behind the driver shooting with their iPhone?
That's Nicholas Mosier.
Behind the driver, not the passenger taking the picture of the two individuals.
That's Nicholas Mosier right there. We're looking at the same thing, right? Oh, Evan. Sorry. Evan Gilbert Katz, yeah.
So Evan is the one with the glasses?
Yes.
Oh, pardon me. With the beard?
That's Evan, yes.
Nicholas has the sideburns and the iPhone?
Nicholas has the sideburns in the iPhone.
Okay. Who's filming them?
I have no idea.
Objection.
Oh, probably Malaya Goldberg, my girlfriend at the time. That's the only other person that I could think who could be in the vehicle, but I can't recall exactly.
She's seated behind the driver, so she's got that angle and she's got that angle, right?
I'm not quite sure. Like I said, I don't remember exactly how the car was oriented. But I'm doing my best here to try to help you.
And so there are at least 3 people shooting with iPhones, right?
I'm not
Objection.
sure. I really don't remember how many people were shooting. I just know that we didn't end up using this footage.
Looking at Exhibit 5.2, you've got someone filming with an iPhone. Who's that?
Objection.
Yeah, that's Nicholas Mosier.
Right. And so there's someone filming the 2 individuals in 5.2 with an iPhone, right?
I
Objection.
don't. I really don't know. I don't remember exactly who was filming what. I just know that we didn't ever use this footage, or it didn't make its way into any cut, so I never really sat down with it.
So next exhibit is 5.3. And that's Nick reaching for the binoculars in the back, right?
Objection.
Yeah, I believe so, but I don't think he ever activated them. I don't think they were ever used during that shoot. I think they were either didn't have an SD card for it or didn't have battery. We never used them. That's my recollection of it.
So your testimony is that those binoculars were not used on the Shady Canyon Drive.
Objection.
My recollection is that Nick did not use the binoculars on Shady Canyon Drive or wherever this was taken. That's my recollection, though.
Which of these personnel left the car and entered residential grounds with their recording equipment?
Objection.
Nobody. It's my recollection.
I want to be very clear about your testimony today. Are you saying that at no time during this drive through Shady Canyon did C5 personnel leave the vehicle?
Objection.
We attended the Lunar New Year celebration with the person who invited us and took us to that event. So we would have attended that Lunar New Year celebration. Saw the dancers, got some food.
So at no time did C5 personnel leave the vehicle, leave the street, and then enter residential grounds?
Objection.
As in, like, someone's house?
As in residential grounds.
Objection.
I'm just very confused as to what you mean by residential grounds, given that I know it's a private community.
Did somebody go to the curb? Did someone go off the curb? Did someone go into someone's behind a fence? Did someone go onto someone's grass? Anything like that?
No.
Objection.
Pretty clear.
Objection, Dennis. If you want to ask those questions, you can ask them individually.
You may answer, sir.
Which question, Dennis?
Which question?
At any time during this Shady Canyon Drive, did C5 personnel leave the vehicle, leave the street, and go onto residential ground?
Objection.
You may answer, sir.
The way you're saying residential ground is just very confusing. Nobody left the vehicle to approach any home with a camera or anything like that. That's my recollection. I don't remember anything like that ever happening. I just remember driving around, getting some footage out the window, going to the event. That's all I can remember.
And your testimony is also that the binoculars were not used.
That's my
Objection.
recollection. I don't recall the binoculars being used, no. Not in a way that I can remember. My memory is not perfect, but that is why I don't think they were used.
Let's go back to Exhibit 4. Let's see if we can talk about the equipment that was used that day. First,
Oh, I can clarify this for you, actually.
go ahead.
So can you go back to that? I actually want to help you figure this out. Can you go back to that, the file path right there? So,
That one?
yeah. So on this day, which was February 4th, 2022, we went to the office building where Message Broadcast is in Irvine before going to Shady Canyon. And there we filmed some binocular footage sequence on the top of a parking lot. So yeah, we did but not for the Shady Canyon shoot, but for the actual office shoot. And that, now that I'm thinking about it, that was earlier that day, but not in Shady Canyon.
Thank you.
Yeah. And some of that footage made it into the final cut, like the office scene. You'll see the binocular shot. It wasn't of Bill's office. It was just a nondescript office building, and you can see me. I'm wearing the blazer with spy music. Yeah.
So how do you know this was February, what did you say, 4 of 2022?
Yeah, because I reviewed the footage whenever we produced some of this material. I know it was that time. It was the same day, and I'm wearing the same outfit.
Let's look at the path. And what it tells us about the files. Did you do any filming in April 14 of 2018 on this project?
Is that the date in which the files were transferred? Oh, you have to explain. That says 2018. The cameras, okay, when you're setting up an A7 and we ask you to set the date and time, you know how you're supposed to put in the right date and time? We didn't do that, so you'll see that's why it says 2018. I wasn't even making documentaries then. A lot of our stuff, it's dated, the automatic date of when the camera was actually produced in the factory. So that would have been when the A7 went out. So there's some footage where if you try to follow the pathway, you won't be given the correct time for it because, we didn't have the habit of installing the right time in cameras.
So, is there data that we can look to figure out, okay, what is the real date?
Yeah, scroll down. She said, scroll down, let me show you. Okay, there you go. So 2.4, the MOVs that we had here have the real date on them, which is 2.4. But the other files, the MP4s, the camera wasn't dated. But both that stuff is from 2.4.
What about dates of January 6, 2019?
I think that also would have been wrong. If those are night vision, yeah, that was also, once again, the date that the camera was issued. We didn't set we still honestly don't have a habit of setting camera times when it comes to cameras, which doesn't really matter to us. But yeah, that would also be a wrong time. I also hadn't yet graduated college at that point, so.
Okay. Let's see. Maybe this is stuff I've touched on before, but this is the A7 camera, and you mentioned that it records an MP4, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, I think you said you own that A7 camera.
Yeah, we still have most of the cameras in our possession at the office in LA.
How does the A7 device come up with or assign file names?
File
Objection.
names? I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm not a file expert. I don't know.
You don't know how the camera assigns that name?
Objection.
I mean, I'm looking at it. It's kind of like rings a bell, but I guess they have an internal process for assigning file names, cameras. I don't know. I really have no idea. I don't want to give you an answer. I'm not a file directory expert.
Oh. Does the camera, as it takes pictures, assign file names sequentially?
Objection.
I have no idea.
I'm sorry, how long have you been doing this?
Objection.
You may answer.
Like, how long have I been making videos for?
Right.
4 or 5 years.
How many cameras? How many cameras do you have experience with?
I'm not generally the guy holding the camera. I'm the guy interviewing people. Sometimes I film, but I'm primarily just focused on the question and directing. I usually hire videographers to get stuff done. I'm more familiar with the editing than I am actually shooting. I'm not the main shooter.
How long you been editing?
Man, about time, 5 years.
All right. And you want everyone to believe you don't know that cameras don't the cameras do file number sequentially?
Objection, Dennis. This is getting argumentative. If you have a question, ask the question.
You don't know that cameras assign file names sequentially in numbers, right?
Objection, Dennis.
You may answer. You know or you don't.
Do I know that cameras assign file names? It sounds like you want me to say yes, like you're just kind of...
I want you to answer from your knowledge. Do you know that cameras assign file names as they record them sequentially, as we see here in Exhibit 3?
Yes.
Starting with the first 3 lines, 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
You know that they do that, right?
Yep.
Okay. Does iPhone cameras work the same way, right?
Objection.
Yes.
Binocular camera works the same way, right?
Objection.
Yes.
The night vision camera work the same way, right?
Objection.
Yep. I'm assuming you're going to go through every camera. Yes. I know that as files stack, they assign numbers to them.
When do cameras, when they take these shots, when do they start over again at 1?
Objection.
I have no idea.
Let's just take these 2 days of shooting that we see here in Exhibit 4.
Objection.
Well, we know that there were 2 days of shooting that we see in Exhibit 4, right?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah. Okay, on those 2 days, were there any equipment malfunction?
Not that I can recall, but I mean, not everything filmed is, sometimes someone might film something that's like a couple seconds and it's just a useless clip, and I guess they might. No, there's no malfunctions that I can think of. No.
To your knowledge, were any files corrupted or unrecoverable?
Not to my knowledge.
And you told us that earlier that when we're transferring the files from the memory card to the computer, it's drag and drop, right? You grab all the files from the memory card, you drag it over to the storage device, right?
Objection.
That's right.
On these 2 days of filming, maybe we take them one by one. On day 1, who handled the memory cards and made the transfer?
Usually it was Nicholas Mosier in charge of that.
On day 2, same question.
Yeah, it was usually them that were handling file dumps at that time.
I don't think there's one thing I don't think we've covered yet, and that is the iPhones. How would you get the iPhone data over to the storage device?
AirDrop. Or Google Drive, or sending it to an email. Those are the 3 options. Or you could plug it in directly like you would with a camera. It just depends how you want to do it.
How did you get the data from the iPhones that was recorded on day 1 over to the storage device?
The same way that I would transfer everything. Oh, you're talking about the solid state drives from back in the day? Or are you talking about the main drive?
Okay, so let's go back. It's day 1. Your workflow is that as soon as the footage is recorded for the day, you move it all to the storage device, right?
Yeah, usually, but I'm sure there's some variation when it comes to like file transferring. Sometimes with iPhones, we might send them like a day or 2 after, because the primary thing is making sure that the SD cards from the actual cameras are transferred. Sometimes iPhones we might transfer day after. Someone might say, hey man, do you have that iPhone footage from the other day? And you'll send it. So, but I'm not sure exactly in this instance when the iPhone footage would have been transferred over, but it's less of a worry to lose iPhone footage because everybody always has their phone on them. You know, whereas if it's in a piece of camera equipment, you might leave it in a car, a bag, somewhere like that where it could be taken.
I'm sorry, sir. Can you please try to slow down for me?
Yeah.
Please. Thank you.
Would you like me to repeat anything?
No, just please make an effort to just slow down.
All right.
Okay. I want to move on to another exhibit. It may be a good time for a break because I want to figure out how to get the audio across the Zoom, which is apparently presenting difficulty. Maybe it's a good time for lunch.
All right,
Yeah.
sounds good.
We're going off the record. The time is 12:29 p.m. We're back on the record. The time is 1:15 p.m.
Hey, Dennis, before we proceed, I just want to clarify real quick. When we were talking about the proxies and stuff like that, I just wanted to add that while many cameras, including ones that we did use, do have in-camera proxy creation that is like visible when you transfer the footage, I can't say directly whether or not that's what happened with that particular transfer.
Okay. And I just want to make sure we orient ourselves to what we're talking about. Are we talking about here in Exhibit 4 where we see this folder structure and there's a subdirectory called proxies? Do you see that?
Yeah. I just want to clarify for consistency's sake, I've never created a proxy folder myself. I don't know how to create proxies. I know that many cameras have embedded in-camera proxy creation that happens, but I can't say specifically. I don't want to be too definitive over whether what happened in this particular situation.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. Thank you.
Yeah.
One other housekeeping thing before we go much farther. I see there's handwritten notes from the witness in front of him. Abigail, will you make a copy of those for us? Mm-hmm. Thank you.
For the record, those will be Exhibit 8.
Cool.
So let's head on over to Exhibit 6. Well, we're not going to mark this one as an exhibit. This, because of its size, I just don't see any reason to to start messing with that kind of file volume. So I'm just going to display at this point a general the first screen so that we can orient ourselves. And then I've tried. I'm not very good at this. I'm certainly not as good as Mr. Callaghan, but I tried to make a smaller clip out of it.
Okay.
So what I will try to do is mark that as Exhibit 6, and then as we have done earlier, we'll play the first part of it without any reporting of the audio so that the witness can orient himself and identify the video.
That's,
There
sorry, Dennis. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, there will be a subsequent part that I would like reported, and I'll indicate that then. I just wanted to give everyone a roadmap.
And that's fine, but I would ask that you lay a foundation for what this is on the record so that we can understand where you got it from and what the full length is. If it's not going to be an exhibit in the record, I want to make sure that we at least have a clear record as to what it is.
Sure, no problem.
Okay.
Why don't we start with that? Mr. Callaghan, are you familiar with the video that I put on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Can you identify it for the record, please?
Yeah, this is a posting on our Patreon page. That's patreon.com/channel5, which is where people directly support us. It shows the first couple shows of our Dear Kelly tour, which took place in the fall of 2024, I believe.
I see a date of June 12th. Do you think maybe you were
sorry,
on
yeah.
June 12th, 2024?
Yeah, it was in the summertime. Sorry, I forgot.
Okay. And I'm sorry we were talking over each other. For the record and for the sanity of Madam Court Reporter, we're going to do that again. Okay?
Okay.
I see a date of June 12 on the screen. Does that refresh your recollection? Could perhaps this have taken place in June of 2024?
Yep, that was the first cup. That was like the beginning of the Dear Kelly tour.
It is entitled Dear Kelly Tour Vlog. Do you see that?
Yes.
What is a vlog?
It's a video blog. It's an entry, like a video diary of, what happened and that show.
What's the purpose of the vlog?
To give our direct support base a behind-the-scenes look at our life on the road.
And this is something that Channel 5 produced, right?
Yes.
Under your direction, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to play a clip of that, and
Cool.
I certainly hope that at this point we resolve the audio issues. I'm informed that perhaps there's a little bit of a lag, but we'll try to deal with it as best we can.
Amazing. I don't even know how to describe this ornate piece of glassware. What even is this? This is top 5 readers of all time. It's pretty good reader. Oh, Larry Susan in the back. Tell the people what you're doing, man. About to set up my cure station. I got 3 separate rooms, and this one's mine. Yeah. Part of his pornography addiction has been moderation. So,
Do you recognize the video so far?
Yes.
Okay. The next part, if we could, I'd like reported, Madam Reporter.
Instead of going cold turkey, we give them about an hour and a half every day. But all jokes aside, we're setting up an editing station back here because one of the benefits of having live shows is you can watch the audience reaction to different scenes and figure out if you've got to change the music or what you need to do to make the cut better. So last night at our first show in Atlanta, people liked a lot of scenes, but there were certain scenes that people liked that I didn't really think they would like, and vice versa. So we're going to condense some of the scenes, extend some of the scenes, and pretty much the movie will change as the tour goes along, based upon what people fuck with. So those 2 hard drives right there contain the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
Get the fuck back. And very, very important files.
Who's the person operating the editing station?
That is Jared Nickerson, aka Larry Susan.
What computer is he using?
He's using a laptop.
What kind of laptop?
I'm not sure. It looks like it's a standard MacBook.
You referenced using a Mac computer to ingest files related to the Dear Kelly project.
Yes.
Is that the Mac you were referring to?
No, the Mac that I was referring to importantly clarify this, is the Mac studio that is in the offices in Los Angeles. Whenever I told him the whole movie is on those hard drives, that's not actually what I meant. That's for the purposes of explaining it to the camera. On those hard drives are duplicates of what was already on the server, but pretty much we just have working projects on those hard drives that are very minimally modified, because if you'll see the actual server itself that's in the office, it's a massive, huge 100 terabyte thing. Those are smaller, not featuring all the footage that was ever filmed for Dear Kelly, but just the specific projects that it's important to understand. By this point, the final cut of the film was pretty much done, as I mentioned to you, besides the final monologue studio voiceover. So what he has is pretty much a duplicate of the final product, and he was making small modifications based upon audience feedback.
Who owns the computer that he's using?
I think it was his, yeah. Larry Susan's MacBook Pro.
Were there any other computers owned by anyone else used to edit video for the Dear Kelly project?
I don't believe so. I think it just would have been Larry Susan and I. And then also those hard drives that he has there, I also still have in my possession as well. It's just more duplicates of what's on the big drive.
Let's be very specific about what those hard drives contain. What was copied to them?
Working project files from the hard drive, the OWC Thunder Bay 8 server that contains all of the Dear Kelly files.
Who decided what files would be put on the hard drive?
They're the files that were actually used in the final working project of Dear Kelly. So if you just imagine, if we have 100 terabytes of footage and, they compile maybe 1,000 hours, and we bake down an hour and 30-minute long cut, that would only be a small fraction of those files. So those hard drives, G drives, only contain what was used in the final working project of Dear Kelly.
What was the size of the final working project that was on the drive?
I'm not sure of the size of the final working. You mean the premiere project or the total number of files used?
What is the size?
The amount of
the files on those drives?
minimal between 1 and 5 terabytes.
Who decided what files to put on those drives?
Larry, Susan, and I, because we transferred the working project, the final working project, from the larger hard drive, which contains all of the footage, onto those smaller drives, only attaching the files that were explicitly used in the final cut of the film, so that we're not carrying around unused video files and they can remain backed up on the server.
Who transferred the files to the hard drive?
Larry, Susan. That's my recollection.
Where are the drives now?
At the Channel 5 office.
Have they ever been backed up?
All of the footage that's on the drive that Larry Susan is using is backed up on the larger server that we use as the master server for all Dear Kelly footage, the OWC Thunder Bay 8. So that is the backup, the one that was imaged, the one that we've been talking about.
So to summarize, if I can, some subset of the of the files that were on the server, you and Larry decided to put on those hard drives that we see in this video. True so far?
Yes, only the files that were used in the final cut, and that was for the purposes of transport during the live tour. Also, remember that the large server, the Thunder Bay, where we keep everything, is our backup. You don't want to travel with the backup because that, if you lose that, you lose everything.
Okay. When was that transfer made?
Right before tour happened.
So, May, June of 2024?
Yeah, it would have been really close to the start date of the tour in June.
And throughout the course of the tour, changes were made to the video.
Minimal changes,
Project.
yes, but the video was only cut down and down because part of the benefit of having live shows, for example, Kyle's party, Kelly's son's party, used to be a 8-minute scene. It became 4 because we were able to observe that people in the audience are bored. But there was no significant changes. Like, it was mostly music and trimming of sections that seemed either redundant or bored the audience.
Were there any efforts at any time to preserve or collect relevant data from Larry's computer?
Objection.
From Larry's computer itself,
Yes.
there wasn't any relevant data on Larry's computer itself.
So, no.
No.
Okay. One second here. All right. Next exhibit. The next exhibit is also a larger video that I don't see. I think what I'd like to do is play just the first part of it. Again, Madam Reporter, I don't think we need to report it, and I'll get it up there as soon as I can. Did I hear something from? Yeah, I wanted to make sure you got to say what you need to say. Go ahead.
Is this number 7?
It is. I'm not marking them. I'm not marking this. I will be marking a frame from it. It will be 7.
Dennis, regardless of whether you mark these as exhibits, can I ask that you share all videos that you use in this deposition with us so we know what you were talking about?
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
That's not a problem. I think you're going to be familiar with this one. This is Exhibit B to your motion to dismiss.
All right.
Another reason that I didn't plan on marking it is 8 gigabytes in length, but I didn't think we needed to be moving that around.
Yeah, as long as you know that we have it and that it can be identified in the record somewhere else, that's fine. We don't need a copy of it.
Okay. Again, Madam Reporter, I'll indicate when we need to report. Thank you.
Park service. Hello. Every day, 6 a.m. No overnight camping. This is a national recreation area.
Are you familiar with the video so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if we can report from here.
VHS tapes. I became so intolerably fixated on this project that I myself recognized that I was teetering on the edge of insanity. So I gave Saddam the hard drive containing the nearly complete movie and all of its video files and told him to keep it far away from me, totally out of sight and off the grid until the time is right. And
Remember that part?
Yeah, absolutely. Would you like some clarification?
In a second.
Okay.
Just wait for a question.
This will be Exhibit 7, screen grab.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hard drive that appears in Exhibit B. And my question is, where's that hard drive today?
This is this entire scene is completely done in jest. It is a stylized, fictional explanation of Saddam burying a hard drive from me far away. It was done for the sole purpose of comedic narrative storytelling to drum up excitement about the tour. Nothing was ever on this hard drive. It's just a device that we're used for storytelling that I buried it somewhere out in the middle of the desert. In the midst of this scene, the solid-state drive referenced throughout this deposition was already being used in full effect. I wasn't actually living in an RV in the desert. I was living in Phoenix, Arizona, and later Los Angeles, spending all of my time editing the final product. So what you're seeing is a stylized, fictionalized commercial. And this hard drive has no basis. It was never used for storage.
Perfect. That covers it.
Cool.
Let's return briefly to Exhibit 4 and these two shooting days. There's an A7, a drone, clearly a Z90 in use that day, and some night vision binoculars. Does that, other than iPhones, is that what was used that day?
Yes. That's my knowledge.
Those instruments all recorded their data on memory cards, right?
I believe so. Aside from iPhones, they record directly into the camera roll.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to carve out the iPhone stuff. The other devices, the A7, the drone, the binoculars, the Z90, all of those record on memory cards, right?
Yes.
What happened to memory cards?
Objection.
Memory cards are summarily formatted after the data dump process.
So they don't exist. At this point, the data on those memory cards doesn't exist.
No, I mean, that goes for every memory card that we've used. Memory cards, we format them and use them for different purposes because they have a storage limit capacity. So we don't keep track of individual memory cards. They come and go.
Okay. And same question with respect to day 2. Same answer?
Yes.
Okay. I want to go back to Exhibit 3. And I want to look at, this is the A7.
Mm-hmm.
This is row 2. The A7 is, the first file is C001. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then there's C002 on row 3 and C003 on row 4. It seems to me from the data that we've been given that C004 and C005 are missing. Do you see that?
From what they're not necessarily missing. Those files exist on the server. You were given everything that my counsel thought was relevant to the federal claims that have been brought up.
So what you're saying is those files exist, they've been withheld by your counsel?
Objection.
Not withheld.
Answer.
They didn't send them because they didn't find that they were relevant to the case. or the claims that were made.
C0019 is missing as well from this data.
Objection.
Same answer?
Yes, sir.
It exists on the server, but your counsel's withheld it?
Objection.
They didn't find that it was necessary or really necessary to produce in regard to the claims that were brought up. But yes, all of these files exist.
Would that be true for any gaps I see in the sequence throughout this data?
Objection.
I'm not sure, but I mean, I believe so. We wanted to produce everything that corresponded to the claims that were made by you guys, and that's everything that's in there.
Okay. I need 15 minutes,
All right.
but we're close.
We're close to the end?
Yep.
No way.
We're going off the record. The time is 1:39 p.m. We're back on the record. The time is 1:57 p.m.
Good afternoon. Looks like we may make it under the 2 p.m. window. Just have a couple of quick follow-ups.
Yeah.
Want to turn our attention again to the Exhibit 3 and Exhibit 4. With respect to the iPhones that were used on shoot day one and appear in the files that appear in Exhibit 3, and you'll recall there were screenshots in 5.1, 5.2, 5.3 with individuals in the Land Rover, right?
Yes.
Okay. Those are the iPhones that I'm talking about, the iPhones that were used to record data on that shoot day one.
Objection.
What efforts, if any, have been taken to preserve or collect relevant data from those iPhones?
Well, you have what's in the folder, but then whenever Lighthouse came and did their collection and imprint, they collected my iPhone 15 Pro Max, serial number L7RQ73. So, sorry, the court reporter's going to kill me for this one. L7RQ73GQTH. And that had my whole iCloud backup connected to it. And so, yeah, they took an imprint, and I think they provided you guys with the videos that I took from those days. And I'm pretty sure those are the same iPhone videos that are backed up on the server. But I haven't looked at this specific thing.
Okay, what about the iPhones of the other individuals in the vehicle?
I'm not sure if they were even filming, if they were on FaceTime, what they were doing. I don't know. I only can speak to the iPhones that I imported.
Okay, so you know of no efforts that have been taken to preserve or collect information from the iPhones of the other occupants of that vehicle?
Objection.
Not that I know of. I'm just looking at the same thing that you are. I think they also took an imprint of Evan's phone, but I'm not quite sure. I haven't talked to him in a very long time. But yeah, not that I know of. I just see what I'm seeing here and whatever they collected at Lighthouse.
Okay, I think that does it for me.
Okay. I'm going to have some redirect questions. You guys, if you want to take a second to make sure you got anything else, or
Go for it.
alrighty. All right, where's my little list? Oh, here it is. Okay. Andrew, the OWC server, I guess solid state drive, what should we call that? The OWC?
Yeah, you could just call it the OWC.
Okay. After May of 2024, were any changes made to that server?
No changes or modifications were made to the server. Only new things were added because there were a couple scenes that we filmed past that date.
Okay. Have you ever met Bill Joyner?
I have never met Bill Joyner.
To your knowledge, has any other employee or contract worker at Channel 5 met Bill Joyner?
They have not.
Have you ever spoken to Bill Joyner?
I have never spoken to Bill Joyner.
Okay. To your knowledge, has anyone else at Channel 5, employee or working for Channel 5, spoken to Bill Joyner?
No.
Have you ever seen Bill Joyner?
I have never seen Bill Joyner.
Has anyone else at Channel 5 ever seen Bill Joyner employed? Actually, sorry, let me take a step back. When I say anyone at Channel 5, I'm referring to current, past employees, as well as people who were working on Channel 5's behalf, either as contract workers or informally on your behalf. Can we just say that when I say at Channel 5, that's
Yes.
what I'm referring to? Okay. Has anyone else at Channel 5 ever seen Bill Joyner?
No, they have not.
Have you ever heard Bill Joyner's voice?
I have never.
To your knowledge, has anyone else at Channel 5 heard Bill Joyner's voice?
They have never.
Have you ever heard or seen any of Bill Joyner's private communications?
No.
Has anyone at Channel 5 ever heard or seen any of Bill Joyner's private communications?
Never.
Have you ever had in your possession any private communications by Bill Joyner?
I have not.
Has anyone at Channel 5 ever had in their possession any private communications by Bill Joyner?
They have not.
Have you ever intercepted any of Bill Joyner's communications?
I have not.
Has anyone at Channel 5 ever intercepted any of Bill Joyner's communications to your knowledge?
They have not.
In any recordings made within Shady Canyon or in the immediate vicinity of Shady Canyon, and by that I mean, let's say, approximately 1,000 feet from the borders of Shady Canyon, did you use any microphones to record audio?
No, we have never used any microphones like that.
Sorry, any microphones like what?
We have never used field microphones, ever planted audio, ever intercepted audio, nothing like that.
Have you ever used any other kinds of microphones in recording in that vicinity or inside Shady Canyon?
The only kinds of microphones that we've used for the entire Dear Kelly shoot, to my knowledge, are clip-on lavalier microphones that were put directly onto either myself or a subject I was interviewing, mobile Sennheiser microphones that are wireless and connect directly to the Sony A7, or just the internal recording mechanisms of the Z90 A7 Blackmagic Cinema camera or Handycam itself.
And of all those audio recording devices we just discussed, what would be the maximum radius, approximately, of sound that they could collect, starting with the largest, whatever that may be, of the ones we just discussed?
Well, I suppose that the internal audio system of the Sony A7 could capture more long-range audio, but it does have it's my understanding, it has a directional compressor microphone in it or a field dynamic microphone, so it wouldn't have been able to capture very far. I don't know the exact range, but the person would have to be quite close to the camera to be overheard. And then the lavalier microphones are directional, and they're clipped on to face the mouth of the person who's speaking, so they only would have captured the audio of the person who consentingly wore the lavalier microphone, or who was speaking directly into a perceivable stick microphone.
Okay. Those were all of my questions.
All right.
Counselor, any redirect?
None.
All right.
This marks the conclusion of today's deposition. We're going off the record. The time is 2:05 p.m.